The galaxy was not at peace anymore. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council had kept things balanced. Different alien species argued, fought, and made deals, but in the end, they always found a way to live together. That balance was now broken. No one knew where it had come from. No one even knew if it was alive. They called it the Silence. It didn't speak. It didn't respond. It didn't negotiate. It moved like a shadow through the stars, and wherever it passed, life disappeared. Entire planets went dark. Moons stopped sending signals. Space stations full of life turned into silent, frozen tombs. At first, the Council thought it was a glitch. Maybe a star exploded. Maybe communication lines were down. But when 5 planets vanished in 2 weeks, everyone started to panic. Ships were sent to investigate, but they never came back. Surveillance drones sent footage once, and it showed something terrifying. A wave of nothingness swallowing cities, trees, oceans, even sound. The recording ended with a sharp, sudden silence. After that, the galaxy understood. This wasn't an accident. It was war. The Council held emergency meetings every day. Great species gathered. The cold-minded Shatari, the wise Velexians, the massive Borak, and the light-dwelling Avari. Their languages were different, but their fear was the same. Some wanted to run. Others wanted to hide. A few talked of surrender, but how do you surrender to something that doesn't speak? Finally, they agreed on one thing. They had to call for help. A message was created and sent across the stars. A call to all intelligent life in the galaxy. The galaxy is under attack. We face extinction. If you can help, respond. If you know how to fight, come. We will welcome any ally. For days, there was no answer. Then came a reply from the Zillar Confederation. They said they would protect their own systems, but no more. The Tsothar Empire said they were too far away to help. The peaceful Avarans offered healing ships, but no soldiers. One by one, species refused. Some were afraid. Some were selfish. Some simply didn't care. The Council was losing hope. Every passing day, the silence destroyed more. Soon, it would reach the inner worlds. Soon, it would come for the Council itself. And then something unexpected happened. A signal arrived. It was short, simple, no long speech, no formal greeting. Just one sentence. We received your message. We're coming. It was from Earth. For a moment, the Council chamber fell silent. Earth, that small planet near the edge of the spiral arm. The one with barely 100 years of spaceflight. The one known for war, for chaos, for emotion. Many Council members laughed. Some were insulted. One Borak general grunted, "Humans. They can't help us. They'll only get in the way." But the message was real. And it wasn't just a message. Soon, a ship appeared at the edge of Council space. It was small, strange-looking, painted black with a single blue light on its front. It didn't match any known designs. It didn't ask for permission to land. It simply moved forward, calm, steady, silent. Council guards prepared to intercept. Fighter ships were sent. Warnings were given in every known language. The human ship didn't stop, but it didn't attack either. Instead, it sent one more message. Let us land. Some Council members wanted to shoot it down. Others were curious. In the end, they agreed. One ship wouldn't hurt. The human vessel landed quietly in the Council's hangar. No music, no flags, no army. Just one person stepped out. A woman, tall, dressed in dark gray. No weapons visible. She walked with confidence, like she had done this before. She didn't speak at first. She simply looked around. At the guards, the aliens, the massive chamber built for beings 10 times her size. Then she pressed a button on her chest. A small projector blinked to life and played a recording. The voice was human, calm, clear, and cold. We understand your situation. We know fear. We've lived through chaos. But we are not afraid of the dark. We are not afraid of silence. We have come to fight." The recording ended. No one spoke for a few seconds. Finally, the Valexian elder asked, "How many of you are there?" The human woman smiled slightly. "Enough." Another council member asked, "Why would you help us?" She paused, then answered, "Because we remember what it feels like when no one answers the call." Then she turned and walked back to her ship. Within an hour, more human ships arrived. Small, fast, strange. They carried strange weapons. They used different energy. Their soldiers didn't wear bright armor. They wore gray and black and moved in silence, like shadows preparing to fight the darkness. The council didn't know what to expect, but something had changed. The galaxy had made its last call, and humanity had answered, not with promises, not with words, with action. And the real war was about to begin. Most species in the Galactic Council had never seen a human before. Some had heard of Earth, small, wild, full of conflict, but few had ever met a human face to face, and none expected them to be calm. But this human woman, Commander Rise, was not afraid. She stood in the center of the great council chamber, surrounded by hundreds of alien eyes. She didn't blink. She didn't bow. She simply waited. The council was confused. Some were angry. A few were amused. The Shatari diplomat clicked his long fingers. "You arrived without permission. You sent no official envoy. This is not how peace is made." Rise looked at him. "We didn't come for peace." A low murmur filled the room. The Barak general, a creature made of stone and muscle, leaned forward. "Then why did you come?" "To end the silence," she said simply. Another murmur. Some aliens scoffed. Others whispered nervously. The Avari speaker, glowing with soft light, floated closer. "You humans are not a military power. You have no great fleets. You have no special weapons. You are young. Why do you think you can stop what we cannot?" Rice took out a small device and placed it on the table. A hologram flickered on. It showed data, records of human history, wars, rebellions, disasters, nuclear fire, plagues, famines, and then recovery, unity, growth. "This is why," she said, "because we survive." The council chamber fell silent again. Then came another question. "But do you know what you're fighting? Do you understand the silence?" "No," Rise admitted, "but we learn fast, and we don't run." Outside, the other human ships were docking. They were not massive like council warships, but they were built for speed, for precision, for close combat. Inside them were soldiers, men and women trained for the worst conditions. Quiet, focused, deadly. One council aide, a young Valexian named Yuru, watched them with wide eyes. These humans didn't look powerful. They looked sharp, like knives, ready to be used. She turned to her commander. "They don't even look afraid." "They should be," her commander whispered. In the next briefing, Rai showed the council what her fleet could do. Small drones flew from her ship and scanned every corner of the council station in under 60 seconds. The footage returned instantly, every hallway, every entrance, every blind spot. No other race had done that so fast. She showed a new weapon, something the council couldn't fully understand. A gun that fired pulses of energy that bent around corners. A system that used sound to map enemies in total darkness. And something else. A strange technology called echo armor, made for fighting in silent zones. The council watched in shock. They had doubted humanity. Now, they weren't sure what to believe. One alien whispered, "They act like they fought this kind of enemy before." The truth was, they hadn't. But humans had fought enemies that were close. Ones that didn't care for peace. Ones that brought only destruction. Earth had nearly destroyed itself more than once. And still, It survived. As the meeting ended, Rise gave the council one final message. We don't want to lead your fleets. We don't want to sit at your table. We're not here to make friends. We're here to stop the silence. If you want help, we'll fight beside you. If not, we'll fight alone. Then she left. That night, in the stars above, the first human strike team launched its mission. A small moon had gone silent the day before, all life signs lost. No survivors. It was near the edge of the affected zone. Other races hesitated. The humans did not. Inside the dropship, 8 human soldiers sat in silence. No jokes, no fear, only the mission. They landed without resistance. The moon was quiet. No wind, no lights, not even the hum of machines. The team spread out. Their helmets tracked heat, motion, sound, even changes in gravity. Then something moved. It wasn't a creature. It wasn't a ship. It was like a shadow made of nothing, sliding across the ground like a fog with no source. One soldier opened fire. The rest followed. And in that moment, the silence fought back. Above, the council watched the live feed. They saw how the humans moved, how they stayed calm, how they covered each other, how they adapted. The enemy changed shape, and the humans changed their tactics. The soldiers weren't just trained. They were used to fighting the unknown. 2 soldiers were lost, but the rest made it out, alive and with something even more important. A captured fragment. For the first time, the galaxy had something they never had before. Hope. And it came from the one species no one expected. Earth. Humanity had stepped in. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The object the humans recovered was small, no bigger than a child's toy. But it pulsed with strange energy. It was cold to the touch, yet somehow alive. Inside the human science ship Curie, their best minds gathered around it. "What is it?" asked Captain Monroe, staring at the black shard. "No idea," replied Dr. Ilana Cruz, lead scientist. "But it's not just metal. It reacts when we speak near it, as if it's listening." The humans called it a fragment of the silence, the first real clue about their enemy. The other council races had never gotten close enough to recover anything. Their ships either vanished or returned empty, their crews gone. Now Earth had a piece of the enemy. The council demanded to see it. They wanted it destroyed. They feared what it might do. But Reyes refused. "We don't destroy what we don't understand," she told them. "We study it. That's how we win." The council didn't like it, but they had no choice. Humanity was the only one pushing back. So they watched, nervously, as human scientists worked day and night. In secret, the shard was studied in a sealed chamber. It gave off no sound, no signal, but it moved. Slightly, always toward voices. It wasn't just a weapon. It was aware. Then something unexpected happened. The shard changed. When left alone in total silence, it began to grow. Tiny strands reached out like roots, touching walls, wires, metal. One scientist tried to stop it and vanished. Not killed, not injured, simply erased. The lab went into lockdown. Commander Rice was informed. She arrived in person, looked at the thing through thick glass, and said only one word: "War." She ordered all research stopped, but not because she was scared, because she had learned enough. The silence wasn't a species. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't even alive in the normal way. It was a spreading force, a virus of silence that fed on energy, sound, and thought. It moved through space like fire through dry wood. And it was learning. Every battle, it got faster. Every attack, smarter. It didn't just destroy, it absorbed. The human mission on the silent moon had triggered something. The silence now knew what humanity was, and it was coming. 2 days later, a station near Council space went dark. The Council panicked. "It's too fast. How did it get here? We must retreat. Seal the core systems. Rai stood calmly in the middle of the shouting chamber. Her eyes were cold, focused. "We don't retreat," she said. "We attack." Some laughed. "Attack what? We don't even know where it's coming from." "We do now," she replied. She pointed to a star map. The shard had given them clues. Tiny shifts in energy. A pattern. A trail. The silence was moving along a path, slowly, carefully, jumping from system to system like a hunter. It was clever. It avoided heavily armed worlds. It struck weak ones, silent ones, forgotten ones. But now it was heading toward something different. A core system. If it reached there, billions would die. "We hit it first," Rice said. "We force it to reveal itself." "You'll risk everything," warned the Avari speaker. "We already are," she replied. The council was frozen in fear. They had no plan, no leader. So, Earth became the sword. The first human fleet launched within hours. No big announcements, no speeches, just cold preparation. Soldiers loaded weapons. Pilots ran checks. Drones were armed. The target was a dead system. 3 planets, no life, all gone quiet 2 weeks ago. The fleet jumped into the void. At first, nothing. Just space. Cold, silent, empty. Then, something flickered. A shadow across the stars. The human ships moved closer. Suddenly, everything changed. The stars went dark. Systems shut down. Lights blinked out. Comms turned to static. Then, shapes appeared. Not ships, not creatures. Forms made of black light and silence, like space itself had come alive. They moved without sound. Fast. Wrong. The silence had come. The battle began. Human fighters flew in tight formation. AI drones scanned in all directions. New weapons fired bursts of energy that echoed back to the shooter, tracking even in darkness. Still, it wasn't enough. One ship was swallowed whole. Another melted midair. The enemy didn't fire missiles or lasers. It touched, and things disappeared. Human tactics shifted. They lured the silence to traps. Mines triggered sonic blasts. Echo bombs created fake targets. Some worked. Some didn't. In the chaos, one pilot recorded a message. "We're holding. Just barely. Tell Earth. We need more time." And then his signal went out. Above it all, Reyes watched from her command ship. This was no normal enemy. It was fear itself. But humans had lived with fear for centuries. They didn't run from the dark. They became the fire inside it. In the cold void of space, the human ship Curie floated silently near the edge of a dead system. Inside, scientists and soldiers stood around a strange object. It was small, black, and sharp like glass. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. It was the first piece of the enemy, the silence. No one from the Galactic Council had ever brought back anything like it. When other species fought the silence, they lost everything. Planets went dark. Fleets disappeared. But the humans, they landed on a dead moon, fought, and came back with proof. Dr. Ilana Cruz, the lead human scientist, wore a serious face. "This fragment is alive," she said. "It's not a rock. It moves when we speak. It reacts to light, heat, even thoughts. We don't understand it. Not yet." Commander Reyes, standing nearby, asked one question. "Is it dangerous?" "Yes," Dr. Cruz said, "but also useful." Outside the lab, the other council races waited for answers. They feared the humans were playing with something they couldn't control. One Velexian warned, "You are touching death. The silence has no rules. If you bring it closer, you risk all of us." Reyes replied calmly, "It's already coming. We need to learn how it thinks before it learns too much about us." So the humans studied the shard. Carefully. Quietly. They tested it with light, heat, sound, and even brain signals. It stayed cold. But one night, something changed. The shard started growing. Thin black lines spread from it like roots. One touched a power cable, and the entire lab lost energy. Lights flickered, machines failed, and a young technician, Private Mason, went to check it. He never came back. His body wasn't found. No blood, no sign of struggle. He was just gone. Security footage showed him walking into the shard room. Then static. When the feed returned, he was no longer there. The lab went into lockdown. Panic spread among the scientists. Some wanted to destroy the shard. Others wanted to send it into space. But Reyes made the call. Keep it. Now we know what it can do, she said. Now we know what we're facing. She ordered all labs sealed. The shard would stay, but under control. Still, she couldn't sleep that night, because something else had happened. The shard had changed shape. It now looked like a human hand. As the human fleet prepared for battle, Reyes called a meeting of her top commanders. The silence is not a fleet, she said. It's not an empire. It's a force. It learns. It listens. And now it knows we're here. A young soldier, Lieutenant Juno, asked, "How do we kill something that can't be seen?" "We force it to show itself," Reyes replied. "We give it a target it can't resist." They chose a system near the edge of the dead zone. 3 planets, all abandoned, the perfect place for a trap. The plan was risky. A small human force would enter the system and light it up. Noisy engines, bright signals, loud broadcasts. It would be like screaming in the dark. And they would wait. 3 days later, the fleet entered the system. Silence. Then, a shadow. Not a ship, not a creature. Just darkness, sliding across space like a fog with no source. It moved faster than anything the humans had seen. It didn't fire weapons. It just touched ships, and they vanished. No explosion, no fire, just empty space. Still, the humans fought. They dropped sonic bombs, created sound traps, used pulse beacons to confuse the enemy. It worked, at first. The silence didn't understand noise. It didn't understand chaos. But it was learning. Reyes watched from her ship as half the fleet was wiped out in minutes. Then she saw something worse. The silence copied one of their drones. It made a fake. The copy looked perfect until it got close. Then it exploded, sending out a wave of darkness. The silence was not just killing. It was adapting. Reyes gave the order to fall back. "We've seen enough," she said. "This isn't a battle we win with guns. We win it with information." Back at the council, other species were shocked. "You lost ships. You lost soldiers. You gained nothing," shouted the Barak general. Reyes stared at him. "We gained something no one else has." "What?" "We survived." The council chamber fell silent. For the first time, the other races understood something. The humans didn't fear death. They expected it. But they also expected to win, even when everything seemed impossible. And now, the silence knew that too. The war had truly begun. And humanity was just getting started. The human fleet had returned, damaged but alive. 20 ships entered the trap zone. Only 11 came back. To most races, that would mean failure. But to humans, it meant they learned something. Inside the command ship Resolute, Commander Reyes stood before a wall of screens. Images played on loop, flickers of dark shapes, readings from the shard, sound logs from destroyed ships. Scientists, strategists, and soldiers worked around her. Everyone moved fast. "We were loud, and it came," Reyes said. "So it doesn't just spread randomly. It listens, it hunts, and it copies," added Dr. Cruz. "It made a fake drone. That means it can remember, maybe even think." The room fell quiet. "If it thinks," said Captain Monroe, "then maybe we can trick it." That idea gave birth to Project Mirror. The plan was simple, but dangerous. The humans would create a fake battle. Dozens of empty ships, full lights, full heat, full noise, all controlled by remote systems. A perfect illusion. If the silence came again, they would record everything, its reaction time, its movement, how it attacked, what it avoided. This time, they would not fight. They would watch. The trap was set near a lifeless gas giant. Drones shaped like fighters formed formations in space. Fake signals filled the system. And then, they waited. Hours passed. Nothing. Then, shadows. Dozens. Hundreds. The silence arrived, faster than before. They swarmed the fake fleet. But this time, something was different. The enemy didn't just attack. It stopped. It paused, as if it knew something was wrong. Inside the control ship, alarms blared. "It's scanning us," a tech officer shouted. "It's not taking the bait." Then the feed went dark. For a moment, everything stopped. Then a cold whisper came through the speakers. No words, just a sound. Low, echoing. It felt like a voice inside the mind, but without language. One soldier screamed and fell to the floor. Another clutched his head. "It's in the systems. Shut it down." Reyes hit the emergency kill switch. All signals dropped. The trap system was cut off. But the damage was done. The silence had seen through it. And it had spoken, if only in a way no one could explain. Later, in the medical bay, the soldier who screamed first sat in silence. His eyes were open. He was breathing. But he didn't speak. Dr. Cruz approached him carefully. "Can you hear me?" The soldier nodded slowly. "What did you feel?" she asked. He opened his mouth. Then, in a soft, broken voice, he said one word. "Curious." That one word chilled everyone. The silence was not mindless. It was curious. It was watching. It was learning. And now, it knew humanity was studying it. Commander Reyes called for a full war meeting. Not just human officers, but council leaders too. In the central chamber, she stood before them all. "You now understand what we face," she said. "It doesn't just destroy. It evolves. The more we fight, the smarter it gets. But it's still just a hunter." The Barak general grunted. "Hunters can be killed." "Exactly," Reyes said. "We don't need to match its strength. We need to find its weakness." She pointed to the star map. "It avoids certain zones, places with high radiation, pulsars, chaotic gravity. It doesn't like instability." The Avari speaker floated closer. "Then we build chaos." Reyes smiled. "Exactly. The humans proposed a new kind of weapon, not one that exploded or burned, but one that confused, overloaded, blinded. Massive sound arrays, energy fields that disrupted space, gravity bombs, quantum noise generators. Things only humans had the madness to create. They would launch them into silence-infected zones and watch how it reacted. Some council members were horrified. "You'll make things worse." "Maybe," Reyes said, "but doing nothing guarantees we lose." The vote passed, barely. Humanity had been given control of the first real counterattack. As ships were prepared and weapons were loaded, Reyes stood alone on the observation deck, watching a distant star flicker. She whispered to herself, "You've been watching us. Now watch this." The war had entered a new phase, one where silence would meet chaos, and the galaxy would finally learn what humans were truly capable of. The silence had learned to watch, but now it was being hunted. Across dark space, human ships moved like ghosts. They carried strange new weapons, noise bombs, chaos fields, and gravity distorters. These tools didn't destroy. They confused. They created messy, unpredictable environments. And the silence hated that. Project Chaos had begun. The first test took place near a dead world called Kuro 9, once home to a peaceful alien colony. Now it was just another black zone, cold, empty, and silent. The human scout ship Nomad entered alone. It deployed 6 chaos devices around the planet. Then it waited. At first, nothing happened. Then, in the darkness above the planet, stars began to vanish, one by one. The silence had arrived. But this time, something was different. The enemy didn't rush in. It slowed. Its black shapes twisted and pulsed, trying to understand the strange energy flooding the area. Sound waves slammed into it. Light patterns danced across space like wild storms. Gravity flickered, unstable and sharp. The silence hesitated. And that was all humans needed. Far above, a hidden human drone recorded everything. Speed, movement, shape, reaction, weak points. When the last chaos bomb exploded, the silence vanished again. But not before leaving behind something new. A signal, faint, repeating, just one tone. A single note. No one could explain it. Was it a warning? A message? A trap? Back on Earth's science station Black Echo, Dr. Cruz listened to the tone again and again. It was not random. It had rhythm, almost like music, but broken. She ran it through dozens of systems. Patterns appeared. And then, something hidden inside the sound. A shape, a symbol. It wasn't human. It wasn't from any council race, but it was designed. Commander Reyes, Dr. Cruz said, "We have a problem. It's not just reacting. It's communicating." Reyes looked at the strange symbol on the screen. It twisted like a spiral. Infinite. Cold. What does it mean? Dr. Cruz shook her head. "I don't know, but it's meant for us." Meanwhile, reports came in from other sectors. The silence was changing. It now avoided chaos zones. It began using strange new tactics. It didn't just attack. It tested. It sent probes, copies of objects, shadows of people. One human station reported seeing a copy of a lost soldier. It spoke like him, moved like him. But when they scanned it, there was nothing inside. Just a shell. Humanity had forced the silence to adapt. And in doing so, they had made it smarter. The council was terrified. "You've made it worse," cried the Teleri ambassador. "No," Ray said. "We've made it desperate." She showed them a new map, dozens of tiny black zones, all blinking in red. "They're pulling back, regrouping. That means they're not unstoppable." One Buraq warlord slammed his fist on the table. "Then strike now. Burn them out." But Reyes raised a hand. "Not yet. They want us to rush in. We need more than strength. We need knowledge." She turned to Dr. Cruz. "How fast can you crack that symbol?" "We're close," Cruz said, "but we may need help." Reyes nodded. "Then we asked the galaxy." For the first time in the war, humanity sent a call not for help, but for brains. Scientists, engineers, thinkers from every race were invited to Earth's research fleet. Together, they would study the silence. The message was simple. We don't want soldiers. We want minds. The response shocked even Reyes. Hundreds came. Young minds, old legends, even some council races who once feared the humans sent their best thinkers. The research fleet was launched. 7 ships, all armed with knowledge, not guns. Their goal, understand the silence, before it understood them completely. As the ships prepared for launch, Commander Reyes gave a speech, not to the cameras, not to the council, but to her own people. "If we fail, we fall into silence forever. But if we succeed, we speak a truth the galaxy will never forget. Humanity does not fear the dark. We light it." Then she watched as the fleet jumped into the unknown. Behind them, the stars remained quiet. But ahead, the silence waited, watching and listening. The research fleet entered the dark zone. 7 ships, no weapons, no armies, only scientists, thinkers, and machines built to listen. They called it the Light Project. Their mission was not to destroy the silence, but to understand it. For days, there was nothing. Just empty space and soft static on the comms. Then one night cycle aboard the lead ship beacon, the strange signal returned. That single tone. Repeating. Calling. This time, the fleet didn't block it. They opened all channels. They answered with light pulses, with sound, with math. And the signal changed. It became clearer, longer, like a sentence without words. Dr. Cruz sat in front of a hologram, watching shapes form from the sound. They were symbols, shifting, growing. Then, one stopped changing. It looked almost human. A hand, open, reaching. "They're trying to talk," Cruz whispered. Commander Reyes, watching from a secure channel, leaned forward. "Keep going." For the next 3 days, the fleet talked to the silence. Not with words, but with patterns, rhythm, memory, emotion. One symbol returned again and again. 2 circles, spinning together. Connection. Then, something unexpected happened. A voice. Not in sound, but in thought. One by one, crew members began to hear it. Some in dreams, some during meditation, some when staring into the dark. It didn't use language. It used feeling. Loneliness, curiosity, fear, and finally, hope. Dr. Cruz stood before the fleet's council. "I don't think the silence was meant to destroy," she said. "I think it was meant to search." "Search for what?" asked one scientist. "Others," she said. "Us. Life. Thought." "But it killed billions," someone shouted. "It didn't understand," she replied. "Until we made it pause. Until we confused it." Commander Reyes agreed. It saw us, not just as noise, but as something else, something alive. The message was clear now. The silence didn't come from this galaxy. It came from beyond, from the dark between galaxies. It had no bodies, no eyes, no language. It copied to understand. It took to learn. But now it had found something new, someone who spoke back. And for the first time, in millions of years, it stopped. Not forever, but long enough to send one final shape, a circle of circles, a galaxy, not destroyed, connected. The message was sent to the Galactic Council. Many didn't believe it. Some called it a trick. Others wanted to strike, wipe out the silence while it hesitated. But Ray said only one thing: if we teach it wrong, it will learn wrong. And so a new plan began. Not war, not surrender, communication. The first between minds that had never met before. The silence began to retreat, but not as an enemy. As a watcher, as a learner, as a possible friend. Years later, a monument stood on Earth and on dozens of other worlds. It showed a black shape reaching out and a human hand reaching back. Beneath it, a plaque. The galaxy was desperate, and then humanity stepped in. Not with fear, not with rage, but with the one thing no one expected: understanding.